she looked too ordinary for war. No confidence, no swagger, just a quiet woman standing among roaring recruits. Laughter followed her wherever she went, whispers chasing her like shadows. They called her weak, slow, useless. But what none of them knew was that under her uniform, hidden against her skin, was something that could silence them all. Something that would make even the toughest commander stand frozen in respect. Watch till the end, you won't believe who she really was. Her name was Lena Hart. A woman from a small countryside town most people forgot existed. She'd grown up fixing tractors in her father's garage and caring for her grandmother after school. Life hadn't given her much, but it had given her grit. When she enlisted, she arrived with old boots, a second-hand duffel bag, and eyes full of determination. She didn't come to prove herself to others, she came to keep a promise. Her late father had once dreamed of serving, but illness took that dream away, so Lena carried it for him, step by step, into the heart of military training. No one knew her story. No one asked, but inside her quiet resolve burned a reason stronger than pride, legacy. From the first day, she stood out for all the wrong reasons. Her uniform didn't fit perfectly, her shoes looked worn, and her silence made others uneasy. Some whispered behind her back. Others laughed out loud. She won't last a week, one recruit muttered. Looks like she came from a farm, not a fort, another joked. Lena heard every word but kept her gaze low, gripping her notepad tighter during instructions. At night, she lay in her bunk listening to muffled laughter from across the room. It stung, not because of their words, but because a small part of her wondered if they were right. Still, each morning she awoke before dawn, determined to keep going. Her silence wasn't weakness. It was control, a shield she'd learned to carry long before she ever wore a uniform. Training was brutal. The sun beat down on endless drills, sweat soaked through uniforms, and blisters turned to scars. Lena struggled to keep up, but she never gave up. When others rested, she practiced alone. When the rest joked during meals, she sat quietly, chewing in silence. No one offered her a seat, and no one shared encouragement. She was invisible, except when she failed, and then everyone noticed. During obstacle runs, she stumbled. During weapon checks, she trembled. But every night, when lights went out, she whispered to herself, "You belong here, Lena, keep going." No one knew what fueled her persistence. No one asked why she kept standing up after every fall, but somewhere deep within her heart, an old memory burned, a promise sealed by ink, hidden where no one could see. Then came Captain Monroe, the man every recruit feared. Tall, broad, and cold as stone, his voice could slice through steel. He believed in discipline, not sympathy. To him, weakness had no place in his camp. From the moment he spotted Lena, his eyes narrowed. He saw a target, a lesson for the others. During drills, he barked her name louder than anyone else. Faster, Hart. Moved like a soldier, not a shadow. When she faltered, he made her start over while the others watched. Laughter followed every command. Her uniform soaked in sweat, her hands trembling. She still never answered back. Monroe took her silence as defiance. He didn't know it was strength. And every harsh word he threw at her only hammered her resolve harder, shaping her into something unbreakable. Days turned into weeks, and still Lena endured. Her face stayed calm, even when her body screamed. The others began to notice. No matter how much she was pushed, she never quit, never lashed out. There was something hauntingly steady about her. Late one night, a fellow recruit saw a glimpse of black ink peeking from beneath her shirt collar. Curved lines, old and bold. When he asked about it, she just smiled faintly and said, "It's not just a tattoo, it's a reminder." Then she turned away, leaving him more curious than before. Whispers spread again, this time not mocking, but wondering. Who was she, really? What was she hiding? And why did the toughest tasks never seem to break her? The answer was written on her back, waiting for the right moment to be revealed. Her determination grows stronger, confusing those around her. The day everyone had dreaded finally arrived, the Iron Endurance Drill. A 7-hour test of strength, stamina, and sheer willpower. The heat scorched the training field, and the sun seemed determined to break them before the commander could. Captain Monroe called out the order, "Hart, lead the formation." The others gasped. No one expected her to last more than an hour. Every step felt like dragging weights through molten sand. Sweat stung her eyes, muscles screamed in protest, and her lungs burned with each forced breath. Yet with every collapse of energy, Lena reminded herself of her father's words. Strength isn't in winning, it's in enduring. Step by step, she kept moving, forcing her body beyond exhaustion. Holding her head high even as the other's eyes followed with doubt and disbelief. Every grueling moment built suspense. Would she survive, or would the camp finally see her fall? Halfway through, her legs gave out. Her body hit the dusty ground with a heavy thud, sweat-soaked uniform sticking to her back. Gasps echoed through the ranks as the commander stormed over, towering above her with scorn. "Pathetic?" he barked. "Heart, you're done. Weakness like this has no place here." Medics rushed in, dragging her upright as she tried to continue, trembling but unbroken in spirit. The crowd went silent. All eyes were on her, waiting for her to crumble completely. For the first time, Lena felt the weight of everyone's judgment pressing down on her. And yet, hidden beneath that uniform, the truth waited patiently, something that would change every skeptical glance into awe. As the medics carefully adjusted her uniform, a sudden tear at the back exposed a portion of something dark and intricate. The field went completely still. There, stretched across her upper back, was a tattoo, bold. Black lines forming an eagle clutching lightning bolts, surrounded by 3 stars. It was faded but unmistakable, commanding attention even under the midday sun. Captain Monroe's eyes widened. He took an involuntary step back, his authoritative stance faltering. Recognition sparked that was no ordinary tattoo. It was the emblem of a legendary battalion, a unit whose bravery had been recorded in history books and whose names were whispered with reverence by soldiers. The silence was deafening as murmurs spread through the camp. Every recruit stopped moving. Every officer stared. For the first time, Lena wasn't just the quiet, weak recruit. She was a living testament to honor and courage, a symbol of a legacy that demanded respect. Her back told a story that no words could convey, and in that instant, the battlefield of ridicule transformed into awe. A senior officer stepped forward, his voice calm but filled with reverence. "That emblem," he said, pointing to the tattoo, "belongs to Task Force Valkyrie, one of the most elite units in recent American military history." The revelation stunned everyone. Lena's grandfather had been a decorated war hero, a man who led daring rescue missions overseas, earning medals for bravery and sacrifice. Every line of the tattoo represented courage, discipline, and a history that few could ever hope to match. Captain Monroe, once harsh and unyielding, now stared with disbelief, his previous authority fading in the presence of legacy. The recruits whispered in awe, realizing the quiet woman they had mocked carried something far greater than themselves. Her endurance, her silence, her calm determination. It wasn't just personal strength. It was a lineage of honor, inked permanently on her skin. A daily reminder of the sacrifices and victories of those who came before her. Captain Monroe stood frozen, eyes fixed on the tattoo that had revealed a hidden legacy. The commanding voice that once cut through the air with authority now faltered. He swallowed hard, disbelief and respect battling on his face. The harsh scolding, the mockery, it all seemed trivial now. With a steadying breath, he slowly removed his cap, a gesture heavy with meaning. Then, in complete silence, he raised his hand and saluted her. Every eye in the field followed his lead. The once intimidating commander had become a witness to something far greater than rules or rank. He had been confronted not by defiance, but by history, honor, and quiet strength. And in that salute, he acknowledged it all. A stunned hush fell across the camp. The recruits, who had whispered, laughed, and mocked her, now stood motionless, eyes wide with awe. Slowly, one by one, they raised their hands, following the captain's example. Salutes clicked sharply in unison, a chorus of respect that replaced ridicule. For weeks they had dismissed her as weak. Now, every glance carried recognition, every gesture whispered admiration. The quiet woman they had underestimated commanded the field, not with words or authority, but with truth and legacy. In that moment, ranks and hierarchy faded. Only honor, courage, and respect remained. Her story became a global lesson in grace, courage, and leadership. A single moment on a flight had sparked conversations that would last far longer than the journey itself. Respect isn't earned by title or wealth. It's demanded by presence, by calm, confidence, and by refusing to be invisible. Nia's story reminds us that grace under pressure speaks louder than any shout. And strength is measured in composure, not volume. Which city are you watching from? Tell us in the comments below. Join the conversation and reflect on what dignity really means. She didn't raise her voice. She didn't fight. She stood and the world listened.